Hello there. In this video, I'm just going to quickly explain a little bit about part 5, which is using, like it says there, sort, zoom, and filter. Zoom is pretty straightforward. Sorting and filtering are very useful, and I'll guide you through it a little bit. Now, one thing that, it's a little bit, again, challenging to understand, well, not so much understand, but to sort of conceptualize is that we don't often have big data to deal with, say, at the high school level. But very quickly, if you're working for a company, in this case, working for an election campaign, you might be collecting lots of data. And then the process of sorting and being able to find information in that becomes of very big importance, and that's what we'll be looking at here. So in Excel, what you will have is a donor list, and so a contributor list as it's called here, and you can see that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of names. And if you were just to sort of look through things, trying to find a particular name or whatever the case is, not very useful, okay? It's going to take you a long time. Especially, like I said, I think there's over 4,000 data points here. So what this goes into a little bit is, there's over 4,000 there. That goes into is, how to do a few things here. So maybe what I'll just quickly pop to, I'll sort of skip around a little bit with this. And of course, there's some questions here. But, one of the things that you can do is just zoom in and zoom out. So I'm just sort of moving way down here. Zooming in, zooming out on data. Pretty straightforward. So if I take a look at that contributors list, down here, it's at 100% now. You can zoom all the way out, okay, and then zoom all the way in. Again, it depends on how useful this might be, but you can kind of, at a certain point, get an idea of how much data there is here by being able to zoom out. Obviously, it becomes kind of useless, but maybe at this point I can kind of read the numbers and get a better feel for what the data is. So that's just one thing that you might be interested in. Now, the other thing, like it said, doing a little bit of sorting. So let's just make that 100% again and go back to the notes there. So when you're sorting, let me just jump up here, there are buttons. So there is the sort, and you can see you can do A to Z quickly. That means ascending, sort of like in a descending way, so from largest to smallest, or alphabetical A to Z. So even though it's A to Z, it's really showing you numerical as well, from highest to smallest to largest. And this would be the other way, descending, so largest to smallest, or Z to A if it was alphabetical. And then there's this guy here. So if we take a look at that, one of the key things that you want to do, just let me move this over here, is to pick a column that you're going to sort. And then so in our sorting here, we just need to find that, because it looks a little bit different on mine, but right there, A to Z, so we can't see the exact one. But if I click on this, I can sort A to Z, Z to A, and so on. So if I do sort A to Z, one of the things that we just want to make sure is that it's sorting everything, and it looks like it did. So now you can see it sorted it A to Z, okay? And if I click on that again, I can sort the Z to A. Okay, so the Zimmerman is the first one. Now, donation, if I come over to the donation one, it would be sort of the same idea. I'd be able to sort A to Z, and then it would do the smallest, and then Z to A would be the largest one. Okay, so pretty straightforward there. These ones are already set up sort of as they're frozen. I don't know if I've shown you that before, but the idea, I believe, in View is you can freeze panes. So at the moment I have frozen panes, okay? I've frozen the top row, but I could unfreeze those panes and now it all disappears, but it's very useful to freeze that top row. So that first question, as sort of you're going through here, like it says to sort there, select any cell you want to sort by, okay, the donation column, and then basically So click on the sort button to sort your data. Which button should you get to? The big donors on top. Okay, who is the largest donor? Okay, so that's the big thing. So you're going to write the answer there. I believe now, because I've sorted the data, let's just go back. Oh no, there they are. They're still there. So you can just write who the top donor is, and you might have already seen that there. Okay, 5, 2. Let's just keep working through here. One thing, and it doesn't seem to do it as much as it used to, but just make sure it's sorting all the data. You don't want it to just, for example, sort one thing and then all the rest don't get sorted with it. That could be a tragedy, because then everything would be mixed up. Okay, so just be careful of that. It didn't seem to have that problem, but just be careful if it's wanting you to do that. Now you can do a sort of a multi-sort. And so with this button, you can sort with this dialog button, sort by something, and then sort by something else. So that will help you. And there's some questions here, but that will help you sort of sort. I think with this question, well, that's a little bit different. Who has the most donors? But let me just show you the other thing here. So if you go back to that sort, and you can do custom sort. So sort by donation, and then you can add a level, and then by, let's just say, zip. Okay, so if you do that, so smallest to largest, and then A to Z, well, that's the same thing. Actually, let's make this largest to smallest. And then sort numbers, store this text. Okay, so for some reason the numbers are messed up. I guess with the zip code. Okay, just go okay. And so what I've got here, it has them sorted by, and it's a little hard to see, but 50,000, there's only one, so it's sorted that way. 10,000, this would be, now I think I must have done it smallest to largest here on the zip code. So you can see that those numbers are getting bigger, but we go to 5,000, right? That's the smallest zip code. And then as we work our way up, okay, to 5,000, then 90210. Oh, Beverly Hills, 90210. Nice. All right, so that's something there as well. And then the last little bit is really using the filters, okay? So let's just go back to this guy here. So 5.2, it said which one has the most. So you can just sort of look at the data and figure that out. I think it's pretty obvious. You can do a count if you want. This one here, so filtering the zip, okay, and then another one to have donations is more, the number of donors, okay, so try to figure out how you could do that, the number of donors over 1,000 in that zip code, and the last one here, doing a filter. So let me just show you how to filter things. Really, filtering is just a way of hiding data. So if you picked out, I don't know, zip codes, okay? Probably the easiest. There is a filter, and so you can put a custom filter on it, and then you can click on these little tabs here, basically. And so I could filter, I don't know, well, let's just pick names here. So you could pick a specific name. So you could clear all the filters, usually at the very top. So select all, you can turn that off, and you want only, is there any Flemings? Probably not. No, so you could, but you could pick maybe a common name. So I don't know, what's the typical name? Jones. Okay, so if I go down here, I could pick only the ones that are Jones. Go okay. And then what happens is it just filters it down to the ones that are Jones. Okay, and you can go back and you can clear that filter. Okay, so everything comes back again. The data is not lost. It's just sort of hidden from view. Okay, and you can do that for anything. You could do it with the zip code. So it shows you all the zip codes that there are, all the sort of unique instances of it. You can also do your sorting there, obviously, as well. Donations, again, you could filter by donations. So if you wanted, only donations 2,000 and over, you could just select that, right? Select the ones that are 2,000 and over. There's a different way to do that as well, but with these, right, greater than or whatever, you can create filters that do it that way, or just select them manually, depending on how difficult it is. Like in this case, there's only a few that maybe you're looking over 5,000. Well, there's only 3 cases there. All right, so in the end, your goal is to answer these 4 questions based on those red boxes. So the top donor, I guess which zip code had the most donors, the number of donors in a specific zip code. This is probably the toughest one, and sort of find the big donor, Alex. And the hint there on that one is that his name may not be perfectly Alex. Okay, it might be something similar. All right, so go ahead and try to get those done.